Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the entrepreneurial process. What we've seen so far is who is an entrepreneur. Remember Michael Dell and remember the similarities Professor Kamke has with such an entrepreneur. And we've also seen that entrepreneurs go different ways. They make mistakes. Actually, they make mistakes willingly. They want to make mistakes because they can't plan everything. They know that they have to get out of the building, give it a try, use the people in order to test hypotheses, capture the learning, and by doing that, develop the product. And this is actually what we call the entrepreneurial process. And there was a lady, Sarah Sarasvati, who asked herself, if this is the entrepreneurial process, is there a difference between expert entrepreneurs, so successful entrepreneurs that were successful more than once, as concerns how they would deal with risks and returns in highly uncertain situations? So is there basically a difference between entrepreneurs in their thinking and people in big business? Is there a difference between developing a street scooter out of a university and developing a new model at VW? And this is why Sarasvati asked 27 expert entrepreneurs on highly uncertain situations. So she gave them problems, and she wanted to capture what they thought. So she made it in a so-called think aloud experience in order to understand how they solve these problems in those uncertain situations. And what she found, for example, when these entrepreneurs were facing these problems, they said, I never do market research because what the people say doesn't help me. You have to give it a try. I don't believe in market research. And that's different to what large corporations do because they do lots of market research. However, in the case of the street scooter, they had a leap of faith. They had a good hypothesis. They thought, we need a cheap electronic vehicle for the market. So they started building that. And then they look at the potential target group which could use that, and this is how they gave it a try, without market research, basically. The challenge is to pick your partners and package yourself early on before you have to put a lot of capital into that. That's exactly what the street scooter people did. And this is also exactly what Sarasvati described as the entrepreneurial process. So what is the difference between entrepreneurs and non-entrepreneurs? Or, as we have it on the slide, non-entrepreneurs and expert entrepreneurs? Well, it is the starting point and it's a process how these two work themselves into a market. If you look at a typical process in automotive industry, what the automotive industry does, they do market research, they define a segment or define a goal where they want to place their new model in. They develop the model, they decide on based on the goal, and then they define the resources they need in order to reach the goal. This is where they start. First of all, they define a goal, the model they want to develop. Then they decide between different models onto how to reach the goal. They define the resources, and ideally, then they reach the goal. And normally it works out. However, again, with that new situation, with that uncertain situation, you might want to do it a little differently. If you face the uncertainty, you might start with your own resources. And this is actually what many entrepreneurs do. They ask themselves, what am I able to do? How far can I get? And then they decide based on their resources, and they make the first step into the market. They create the best possible output. So entrepreneurs go into those situations coming from the input to the output. Large corporations, non-entrepreneurs, always start with the output and work themselves towards the input in order to reach the goal. Let's look at this entrepreneurial process a little more closely in order to understand what Saraswati found out. Because this is her basic result, this is her basic theory, and I'd like to show that to you. So the first thing entrepreneurs do is when they start with their own resources, they basically assess their means by asking, who am I, what do I know, who do I know? How far can I by myself get? And when asking yourself this story as an entrepreneur, you also answer the question what you can do by yourself. So you can reach a specific goal, or that might not be a perfect product, but that might be a step towards that perfect product, towards the market, towards creating your own firm. And if you can't go further, you look for partners you can interact with people you know, try to get their commitment, and their commitment of stakeholders give you new means on the one hand, so you have a bigger solution, but it gives you also new goals, adapted goals there. You might have to change your goals. Maybe you can expand your goals, but maybe also you have to change your goals. This is how, by the way, entrepreneurs can leverage contingencies, because they walk through those situations when something unexpected comes up, they use this contingency in a positive way here. But this is also how entrepreneurs co-create not only their products, but also their markets and their own firms. By always asking themselves, how far can I get in my situation? Which are the goals I can reach right now? If I can't go further, I commit new stakeholders, and then I go over and over again. Is this also the street scooter story? Well, look at a couple of quotes from the street scooter story by Christoph Deutschens. And he said, yes, from the onset we've been very open and transparent. Actually, we were dependent on partners. So the street scooter story honestly started at a university with a couple of professors. They asked themselves, we are doing research on production engineering, we're doing research on automotive manufacturing, on electric mobility, all the research necessary to build a car. Why don't we build a car? So they sat together and they asked themselves, how far can we get? But to be honest, I mean, you can't build everything on your own. You'll be too overconfident if you build everything on your own. So what you do is you look for partners. And this is what Christoph Deutschens said, because among other things, we were dependent on partners. Time limitation, it was essential to work with many partners. Sharing knowledge leads to gain in knowledge. That shows you the new means. Many partners, new partners, you have to share everything. They are a part of your crazy quilt. However, you also get new means. You gain in knowledge. And at the very end, and this is what he says lastly, the philosophy has certainly paid off. So you see, the street scooter story is to some extent also the entrepreneurial process. Starting with a couple of professors sitting together at RWTH Aachen University, asking themselves, if we do research on electric mobility, we can also build one. And this was the starting point, not the goal. Well, the vision maybe, but not the goal to have X products being built in year Y. No, it was, we are able to do that. So whom do you need? Who do you need else? And then the partner, the stakeholder commitment part comes into place. I looked for new partners, which gave them new means, and those new means basically paid off in the entire story in order to be able to build the car we see right now.